Hey, I'm David Fontana, and here we are in Guatemala City in Zone 10. And we are at one of my favorite boutique hotels in all of Guatemala City, La Immaculada. You could stay at finer hotels, not finer, I shouldn't say that, but larger hotels, but the way the rooms are appointed here, it's just beautiful. A very modern touch. And do yourself a favor, when you come to Guatemala City, make sure to check out La Immaculada Hotel.
What this boutique hotel lacks in high-end amenities, it makes up for in comfort and exclusivity. Each suite is surrounded by perfectly manicured gardens filled with exotic plants and whimsical sculptures. There are also quiet spots to get a little work done or to just sit back in the garden with a hot cup of coffee. After checking in, Monica and I walked over to La Fontabella Plaza for a late lunch at the Frisco Grill, before heading over to do some last-minute Christmas shopping at Guatemala's ultra-swanky and sophisticated Oakland Mall. Being that it was December, the mall was decked out for Christmas, which really put Monica and I in the holiday spirit. And Oakland's multi-level complex has every top store imaginable, usually only found in the most exclusive of U.S. malls. With her shopping complete, we headed back to the hotel to shower and change because that night I was taking my wife to my favorite Guatemalan restaurant. For the most authentic Spanish food in Guatemala, you have to visit Donde Mikels, where father and son work their culinary magic in the kitchen, whipping out the most delectable Spanish dishes with only the sazon that they possess.
There's a reason why this is my favorite restaurant in Guatemala City. Wow.
After a 5-star meal at Donde Mikels, we headed over to Montano's for cocktails and cigars. The following morning, we took our time getting out of bed before heading up to the rooftop for a leisurely breakfast and some hot morning coffee.
Hidden in Zone 10, not far from the Oakland Mall, not far from Fontabella Plaza, La Immaculada. And it only has, I don't know, maybe 24 suites or something like that. And a beautiful place to come up and have breakfast here is called La Despierta, I believe. And if you have a chance to come to Guatemala, you can stay in the Intercontinental, you can stay at the Holiday, but you'll be missing a great experience not staying here at La Immaculada. Chilaquiles Despierta.
After a wonderful breakfast, we said our goodbyes before heading over to my cousin's mountainside cabin overlooking Lake Amatitlan. It was Sunday afternoon and the perfect time to turn down the noise of everyday life and to chill out with family while sipping on cool cocktails and listening to some of the freshest jazz. In the kitchen, my wife volunteered to get dinner going. So after gathering the ingredients, and a little bit of prep work, she got the stock going to prepare her famous arepas Reina Papia. And soon my beautiful and always curious Aunt Norma joined her for a cooking class on how to make the recipe. And of course, she wanted to learn how to make my wife's famous arepas.
Tengo una ayudante, vea.
I gotta admit, seeing my Aunt Norma and my wife Monica getting along so well warmed my heart and brought a smile to my face.
Y la pones y ella se te pega. Y cuando la vas a intentar rebajar,
With the arepas on the grill and the recipe finished, it was time for one more dance before dinner. The next day, after feeling refreshed and relaxed from our night at the cabin, we all headed over to Ciudad, Cayala, or as the young hip Chapinas call it, Yala. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't start calling it that. Your first impression as you enter Cayala is how uber ritzy it feels, with its gleaming white buildings, which possess a European aesthetic with lovely influences of both Spanish and Mayan design elements. As you wander its streets, you find different districts dedicated to fashion, food, and play. Cayala also has a thriving business community and some of the most exclusive hotels and residential condos and homes found in all of Guatemala. One of those amazing businesses found in Cayala is my cousin's Wings Academy, where students from all over the world come to study and prepare to get into the best colleges and universities in the United States. Feeling thirsty and ready for some play ourselves, we headed over to La Rosa, where we met up with my cousin Paul for some appetizers and drinks, and where my wife Monica got to know a few more members of her new beautiful Guatemalan family. And where my cousin Maritza, who I admire and love so much, took a little time to personally sign each and every diploma of her graduating students. And where before leaving La Rosa, my beautiful and sexy wife locked our love forever in Cayala. With everyone feeling hungry and ready for dinner, we took a short walk, snapping a few photos along the way, to one of my favorite casual Italian restaurants in all of Guatemala, Tre Fratelli. That evening, we met up with some close friends for cocktails at the Camino Real before ending a magical day and calling it a night. Knowing how much I'd love their pit beefs, their salco jellies, and their salsa picantes, my buddy Javier offered to pick Monica and I up and drive us to the iconic Katok.
We just got to Katok. It's one of the most popular rest stops on your road to Atitlan. Here, it's a little cold, so they serve things like a famous soup made with turkey. What's it called, Javier? Kakik. And they make blue tortillas here with special cheese. What's it called, Javier? Cancol. So you can't miss this stop. I love stopping here for their jellies. Here we are. Oh, Hola, there's Ileana. We found my aunt on the way here. Hola.
With over 50 years in business, Katok is one of Guatemala's truly iconic restaurants, serving up some of the country's most authentic and traditional plates. And always a must-stop for me every time I come to visit Guatemala.
De maíz azul, torteadas a mano por las personas de la cocina que ya vieron, y están rellenas de un queso artesanal hecho en esta misma zona de Tecpan que se llama chancol, queso chancol.
That afternoon, I wanted to introduce Monica to Zone 1 and the historic National Center of Guatemala City. There we visited Guatemala's historic presidential palace and her national cathedral. In its heyday, Zone 1 was the center of Guatemalan wealth and power, with historic hotels like the Royal Palace, which even today harkens one back to what must have been a bygone age of glamour and excess.
So here we are in Zone 1. This is really the main shopping district down here. It would have been in the old days like the place where the very wealthy would come to shop. You want to be careful down here. You want to take off your jewelry and your watches. It's right near the palace. The old school guys like my grandfather maintained an apartment here for many years. And even when the neighborhood, the zone, it's Zone 1, went out of fashion, they still kept their apartments here. And to this day, walking down these streets, you still see the old guys with their blazers on and their dress shirts and shine shoes, and it's just nice to see that. They walk around with pride. So we're having a great time. There's a lot of boutiques and little stores with clothes and all that good stuff. So it's definitely worth the experience to come down to Zone 1, check out the palace, check out the cathedral, a lot of historic buildings, and do a little shopping on the main avenue.
Where I even found La Fontana Boutique. Could I be heir to a men's fashion fortune?
So yet again, we find ourselves at San Martin, our favorite bakery in Guatemala, our favorite place to have breakfast. This one happens to be in Zone 1, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's inside these old ruins in Zone 1, near the palace. Isn't this your favorite place, Guatemala? Yes, in all of Guatemala, this has to be both our favorite places. So if you want the best croissants, the best pastries, and really the best breakfast in town, come to San Martin in Guatemala. We just ordered 2 hot chocolates, croissant maybe with ham and cheese. This beautiful place here in Zone 1. So be sure not to miss the experience, and it's very affordable as well, so you'll love it.
Before heading home, Monica and I were thrilled to come upon this beautiful historic church, where we both took time to reflect and give thanks to God for all the beautiful blessings He had bestowed upon us during our magical month with family and friends in my beautiful Guatemala.